G'day, Stu from UAV Futures here, and welcome back to another episode of Tech Tuesday, where every Tuesday we get together, we talk about some new, different, or just exciting tech in the FPV drone racing world. And today, well, we've got something a lot of people want. A lot of people want to see some nice, juicy HD footage, so they strap one of these cameras to their drones to do their recording. We've traditionally been using things like the Sessions 5, and now we've got this competitor on the block. So this is from Runcam. It's the 3S. It's designed to be a little action camera. It's in a very sort of nice, easy form factor. Shoots at 1080p, 60 frames per second, and we're going to be sticking it on the bench, very quickly going through some of its features, and then the main part, let's show you some footage. What does it actually look like? So we'll take it out for a little bit of a flight and find out, is this going to be a good budget solution for you? And I say budget solution because, look, the Sessions 5 is a great camera. You can see I've been using mine for a long time. I backed it up. I've got another one here, so in case I ever break this one, there's this one as well, and that's really important because they don't make these anymore. So a lot of people, you really don't have the option unless you went out and bought a few of these because they work really, really well. You're going to sort of be struggling to look for an option. This from Runcam is sort of filling that void, but also on a budget option because it is coming in, I think it's $99, maybe $99, maybe $90 if there's a pre-order bonus. I'm not too sure. Check the link out down below, but it is going to come with some limitations versus this one. So we're going to be doing a bit of a comparison, find out what's the right FPV camera for you, and is it worth getting one of these things? Because it does some, I've got to say, it does do some things well, and especially for its price, but there's also some things that kind of bug me about it. But enough rambling, let's stick it on the bench and get started. Put these two head to head, the GoPro versus the Runcam 3S, and find out what's going to be the right one for you. Which one should you be picking up? All right, let's do it. Cut to the bench, have some fun in 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, here they are on the bench. We've got the Sessions over this side, Runcam's new 3S right here, and I got to say, I do prefer this color. So if you're going to lose this action camera in the grass, having it bright orange makes it very, very easy to see. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go through some of the features of this bad boy. I'll only touch on a few features of this because this thing, it's been out forever. You've seen a lot of the footage as it is, but we will use it as a bit of a comparison tool. So the first things first, let's stick it on the scales, find out how much it's going to weigh. So this one, 72 grams. This one coming in at 70 grams as well. So they're pretty much for muchness in weight, which is interesting because this one, its size is a little bit bigger. To go through some of the features, it's 1080, like the top features are 1080p, 60 frames per second. It's got a removable battery. It does do Wi-Fi. It charges over USB, and it doesn't do SuperView though. So that's something you should note as well. Now, what I want to mention first is if you're going to mount this on your quad, you need to really think carefully. How's it going to fit? You might need to change up your mounts because for me, look, this is sort of a common example of what's like. I actually got caught out with this. I was out in the field ready to fly. You can slide your GoPro into the side. You can also, with a little bit of force, fit this one in as well because the size is the same. You can see from front to back, it's very, very similar. But when you're going to go the other way, you can see the 3 is a lot wider than the Session. So you sort of see them like that. And that means if you've got a case where you sort of slide it in from the back, there's no way that's going to fit because the Sessions will fit in some of these cases. This one, it's just too wide. So if your case, it's one that relies on sort of the width of it, it's not going to fit whatsoever. You do need one you can slide it in from the side if you don't have a special Runcam mount anyway. Now, I guess that's just a bit of a growing pain of coming into the industry when GoPro has dominated so well. Now, speaking of that industry, what I really do want, I want people to have good gear that works well, that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. So the price-wise of this one, for the $99 of this, is much, much better than the Sessions. This one, it can be very expensive. You know, it's okay if you pick it up on a sale, but I think that this price, around $100, is much, much more attractive to drone pilots out there, especially if you might accidentally smash this thing up in a hard crash as well. It's definitely, you see a lot of people, if you're flying around bandos and some really places that aren't very forgiving to your quads, you see so many little smashed cameras out there. Now what I'm going to do, it's got this little door on here, and that's to keep your SD card safe and your battery. I don't like that. I think that's going to come off fairly easily. You're going to probably lose that, so I recommend putting a bit of tape. You do have a removable battery, which is good and bad, so we're going to have to test out the battery lifetime, but just playing around with it, I did feel like it was going flat a little bit quicker. You put your little SD card in here underneath, so that's nice, and then that's pretty much it. What I really would like is if in here they had a separate battery option where you could just probably plug something that had 2 wires coming out. You can plug that in straight into your craft. On the top here, we've just got our little one press button, and you got some lights for a little battery indicator, a little light here to let you know what's going on, a little microphone. You can check out some of the audio quality as well if you want to do Wi-Fi, and then you've just got your standard little micro USB port. So that's about it on the bench. Look, you can hook it up to your phone, very similar to the GoPro app. What I really wish they would do is get rid of all that nonsense. It's just make a simple action camera where I can press the button, it starts recording 1080p in a really wide field of view. That's all I want. I don't want to have to hook it up to my phone, muck around with any of that stuff. So if you want to change your settings on this, you're going to need to do that. You can adjust things like your white balance, the field of view you want to look around with. Is it going to be a time lapse? Is it going to take photos? All that sort of stuff you can do on your phone. But to be honest, I don't really care about that. I just want to know, is this a good action camera to stick on my drone? And what does the footage actually look like when we go out and we record with it? So that's what we're going to do now, and a little bit different because the GoPro's been flown to death, and it actually is the death of GoPro. They don't make these anymore, which is a huge shame. We're going to find out, how does this one go? Let's check out some of the footage, take it out, rip it around, and have a good time and find out, is this going to be the right action camera for you, or should we wait for the little next upgraded model? So let's do it. Go have some fun. Fly it around in 3, 2, 1. Okie dokie, here we go, ready to rock and roll, and a massive shout out to Wingman Jono because we got out to the field ready to fly around, do a little bit of recording, and lo and behold, this is when I got caught out and realized it didn't actually fit in all my other quads that usually carry a GoPro. So big shout out to Wingman Jono for letting me strap this to his quad, and then I just went for a little bit of a spin on his craft, and it feels so different flying around. You can see here, trying to get some shots at the sun and a bit of exposure right there, so you can see how it handles that. But it does feel so different flying someone else's quad with someone else's radio. Johnny, I really think you need to loosen your sticks, mate. They are so tight on that Tyrannus. But onto the actual camera itself, and the first thing I sort of noticed, and I will show you the audio towards the end, I might play a little bit of a clip that you can listen to without me rambling over the top, is it feels a little bit flat in terms of the colors, and a lot of people might say that's a negative, but it could also be a positive. For people like me, I prefer the GoPro sort of standard look. I don't really edit my footage too much. I know a lot of people spend ages doing the color correction and all that sort of rubbish. For me, that's not what it's about, but for some people they like that, and what they tend to do is use some really flat colors on their GoPro, like ProTune or something like that, so then they can use, it's even easier to use in post-production. There's Trevor's car, look at his bad parking there. The slacker just sort of parked way away there, people ruining the park. That's really frustrating. But if you're the sort of person that does like to muck around after post-production, then these flatter colors might make that easier for you. Now, I don't feel like the detail is there as much as on the sessions, and I also feel like there might be like a tiny little bit of pixelation or something on the outside of the screen, but I really don't think you're going to be noticing that really too much. Now, the battery life was something that was bugging me. It did feel like it was going flat much quicker than when I was just flying around on my sessions. So I was probably maybe getting 5, 6 flights out of it, probably about maybe half as many as I would on my session. So that part I do think they need to do something there with the battery options, and I don't really like how you have to hook it up to your phone. That part was annoying as well. I just want a camera we can put on the quad, and we can change it directly in the field without the need to always have our phone out and connected to it. But what do you guys think? Like, is this footage good enough? Would you be happy to have this sort of HD on your craft? Because that's really what it comes down to. What's it looking like for you right now? How does it look? Is it poor? Is it terrible? Is getting this recording worth the $100? Because I think that's the price difference, though. For the price, I know we've been complaining a little bit, but you've got to remember this is a budget action camera that I think for the money, value-wise, is actually doing really well. So I know feature-wise, it definitely nowhere near is it as good as the GoPro. And I know there's some purists out there that are going to say they're only ever going to fly GoPro or the best of the best or whatever they want to fly, and that's fine. But also understand there's people out there that don't have tons of money to spend. $100 is a lot of money, and that might be 3 more batteries or something that they can get instead. And for that $100 mark, they want to do some HD recording, and how good is it? So that's where I don't want to say, is it worth it or not? Because everybody has different options. But I think for the $100 price, if this is all you can afford, it is a good option in my opinion in that regard. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Put your comments down below as well, because that's what I want to know. You're watching the YouTube footage, so how do you think it looks versus the $100 mark? Not versus the GoPro, because obviously I do think the GoPro handles all of the situations and the settings and all that sort of stuff much nicer. Now what we'll do, we'll just play a few seconds of sound so you can sort of make your own mind up. For me, I don't think the quality is as good as the GoPro sound. I think GoPro did a very good job with their microphones, but if you're just listening to some motors sort of screaming in the background, how much is that worth it? A lot of people put music over the top, all those sorts of things. So let's just play a little bit of sound, and then we'll wrap up the review. Righty, a bit of infield sound testing with the 3S. I'm flying Jono's rig, but something to note is on our first little stack, the door comes off. So, yeah, you definitely need to put a bit of tape or something on it. And I have no idea how this audio is going to go either. Alrighty, so there it is. There's my look at Runcam's 3S, the head-to-head with the GoPro Sessions, and there is some big pros, and there's also some, I guess, some negatives about it as well in terms of performance, especially versus something like this. So the first one for me is the price. Like, the price is right. Runcam's a company, they understand what the market is, they make cameras, and they make them for a good price, especially for something like this, for a 60-frame, 1080p recorder. This is a great little form factor action camera you can stick on there. It's got a removable battery, so I really like those features. I do think in terms of the footage, what does it look like? It is a little bit flat. It doesn't have Super View, which, look, I like flying around with Super View, so that's why this is great. But they also don't make this anymore, so there's kind of going to need to be a big void that's going to be filled. But hopefully in the future, Runcam, they can come out. Runcam can come out with like an upgraded model so we can get some Super View, some better scripts, all that sort of stuff. Now, some of the negatives, some of the things I don't like. It's a little bit wider. That's why I had to borrow Jono's quad to put it in, because it's not going to fit all your mounts, so that's a little bit of a problem. I do find the interface a little bit more clunky. I don't really like the way that it works, and getting the app on your phone, all that part can be very annoying. So there's no real way to change your settings like you can on the Sessions, because you don't have a screen. And I also find the battery, even though it's removable, it doesn't last very long at all. So I was probably getting about half the time, maybe even a little bit less of the actual one inside the Sessions. And the 3S from Runcam, you can replace in and out battery. You can just swap them in and out, but I would much prefer a little power option where we could sort of, maybe they'll come out with this, we can run it direct to your quad, because I'm a bit worried you're going to need a few of these batteries to get a good day of recording. And yeah, and also this little door, well, after my first crash, I sort of lost it. So I wish that would sort of stay on there. You're going to need to put some tape on there or some other parts. But overall, to sum it up, it is a good action camera for the price. I mean, the $90 or $99, whatever it is, linked down below, it does do its job well, and I do like its form factor, but it is no way comparable to the Sessions. So this one is much better quality, and I'm kind of a bit on the fence about it. Yes, it's good. If it's all you can afford, I still think the footage is going to be fine, but it's going to be a little bit more clunky. It's not going to have Super View. It's going to be a little bit more flat, and your battery's not going to last as well. I think I summed that up pretty well, but I'd love to know, what do you guys think? Do you want to see Runcam do like a little upgraded one with Super View or something like that? Maybe at like an extra $50 or just an extra 50% of cost of this one, because look, it is dirt cheap for what you're getting, especially compared to something like this. But leave your comments down below so they can all read them. Definitely subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying. Big shout out to Wingman John. I'm going to put his Instagram down below for letting me fly his quad, because usually when he lets me fly his wings, it just doesn't end very well. So a big shout out to him for letting me strap this onto one of his quads and take it for a bit of a spin, because I was in a bind. I thought I was ready to rock and roll, and then nope, it doesn't actually fit in those mounts. Anyway, happy flying. Thanks, Jono. Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos. And I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page, because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAV Futures family, there's things like bonus Velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying.